first show, what is it like looking for the cost and everything that we can help the people who are kind of starting out what they're looking forward to, and like how like they know how to be, I guess, serious about it or whatever, like what to look forward to, I guess, like the
Well, I'll tell you my total costs to compete at this last show over the course of a year, pretty much that's including off season and then prepping for the show, was roughly $17,000. Now I am enhanced, so you can drop about three, four, so you can drop pretty much about $7,000 from that cost right there alone, just from enhancements. So that puts you down to 10,000 mark. And again, that's for off season. That's for your NPC card, your registration, assuming coaching at roughly 4,000 a year. Then you're looking at, and again, you probably could drop off the preventative supplements. You're not going to need as many as I did. So I spent about between three to 500, so about 3,600 bucks a year on preventative stuff. So kidney, liver, digestive aids. You won't need as much of that if you're natty, so you can probably drop some of that off. So I'd say you're probably looking in the eight 8,000 to 10,000 range over the course of a full off season of prep to build up to go into a show with some quality muscle and conditioning as a natural athlete for your first show.
that's what I would say. That's hey, that's for youngsters who want to start out or whatever. Look forward to doing your first show. It's something to look forward to seeing and what you can paint, I guess. But what you learn from your first show that you kind of transition to your like second show, like maybe your diets, the workout plans, and all that stuff.
So, competing in my first show, I got really good feedback from the judges, essentially saying that I was just small. So I took that, and they said I had a good shot at going pro if I had the size, which obviously comes with the anabolic usage. So once I got that feedback, because that was my end goal anyway, and what you take away from your first show really depends on what you are looking for with bodybuilding. Are you looking to just compete one time to do it to say you did it, or do you want it to be a career? Like, what do you want out of it? I want it to be a career. I want to go pro. So I took what I learned from there, and realized, okay, I have to be enhanced. That's the first thing. First step, I have to be enhanced. You just have to be, unless you have one of the billion genetics. You have to be enhanced. And I went from natural to my first cycle. And with your cycle, you can recover much easier. So a big thing with anabolics is they really aid in recovery. So you can train harder for longer. No, it's not necessarily that they just automatically give you muscle. You can just train harder for longer, and your body can utilize nutrients better depending on what you run. So I learned that I essentially could run a harder diet and train much harder, push much harder in the gym if I'm enhanced, and that I need to be enhanced to go pro, and that I have the ability to go pro based off the judges. I just have to get that size met.
I guess, what's your eating like when you go from off season, I guess, and then when you're trying to compete, like how's your protein, I guess, intake and everything? Like, do you have any cheat meals when you're going, like when you're trying to prep for a show?
So it goes week by week. It goes week by week. In the off season, I have 1 to 2 cheat meals a week. I'm trying to stay a little more strict. I have vacation next week for this off season, and I'm gonna probably do a couple cheat meals. Obviously, I'll be with family on vacation, but they're gonna be moderate, seafood, healthy stuff. But normally, it's 1 to 2 cheat meals a week in the off season, and then in prep, it really depends because checking in weekly with my weight, how my body looks. I will usually do a cheat meal a week leading up to probably about 10 to maybe 8 weeks out. And then it cuts no cheat meals. I think that's what we did this last time. I'm actually going to try post vacation to only do a cheat meal. A, if something comes up that's like an event that I need to go to, or B, like one every 2 weeks is my goal. So that's kind of how I do. That's how I'm going to try to handle cheat meals this off season because I am doing it solo. I want to stay really tight and put on as much lean muscle mass as I can because I'm looking to add about 30 pounds of lean muscle or 30 pounds of tissue, majority of it lean muscle, I should say.
Chris, I don't know if you have any questions for Cade or if you have any like stuff you want to ask him.
Hey, Cade, man, appreciate you jumping on and doing this interview, man.
Hey,
Uh,
thank you,
my,
thank you.
my name's Chris. I did have one question because you hear so much about from different guys on volume, especially if you're between bulking and leaning when you're going into a show or coming out of it and trying to put on some mass. Have you seen? I've played around with a lot of different workouts with volume. Have you seen much difference on whether you go heavy volume like a Jay Cutler would do, or versus cutting it back? And what does your split look like through the week?
So for me with volume, don't really, I don't go super, super high volume. Actually, I started a new split this week, my first for the off season, and it's it's a healthy mix. So like my old split was for prep was a heavy, low volume leg day per week, and then a high volume leg day per week. So I was running push pull legs, essentially, which is a very great move. It's very great, especially it hits all the body parts. You get solid volume across the week, and you have plenty of time to rest between training sessions. You get that 48 to 72 hours between training sessions of rest per muscle, major muscle group. But I didn't notice any major differences realistically. I think that, but also I'm a very, very advanced lifter at this point. I've trained for 7+ years and 4+ years of specific bodybuilding training. And I've been enhanced for this will be 3 years this year. So that plays a big role versus, I think someone who's just starting out or is younger, they'll see much better, um, they'll see much better reaction within their body of higher volume as long as it's done with intensity and they really understand the motion and they really focus on it. So they're not just doing cheat reps basically the entire time, half repping and doing 15 to 20 reps of half reps, you know? So I think it's more important versus high to low volume. It's more important about your intention and your quality of training overall. I don't think there's going to be a big difference in overall on average for the average person of volume training.
Cool. Thanks, man. Appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, and I will tell you, my current split right now is fasted cardio every morning, about 35 minutes. I have vacuum training. I do every morning, 15 minutes. Then my split starts out. So I have rest days on Saturdays, so I'll go from Sundays. So it's back and rear delts, hamstrings, glutes, calves, chest, tries, quads, adductors, arm, shoulders, and then upper chest, posterior chain.
Sweet.
I guess it falls on Sundays. It kind of seems like it falls on Sundays maybe a little bit, but I started in the middle of my old one. I swapped over, so I tried to line it up. So this first week's been a little off, but I'm also playing with it. My quad yesterday was very high volume, and it actually ruined my workout. So I started off with 4 sets of 15 to 20 on the leg extension after stretching, and I was so beat from doing the leg extension that I went straight to hack squats after that. And I actually was just so dead from hack squats. Like I was so pumped and so full, I couldn't feel my quads anymore to do anything. I couldn't get any more mind muscle connections. They were so pumped because I was supposed to go to pendulum squat.
Yeah.
And I had to skip it. So I skipped it, went straight to adductors, and then did body weight walking lunges to finish up. And yeah, so I'm going to be altering my split because I think it was too much volume up front. I like working for heavier lifts like hack squat, 8 to 10 rep range. And then for accessory lifts or something more like the adductors or machine leg extensions in the 12 to 16 rep range with a 2-second eccentrics. That's my bread and butter. That's where I like it.
Okay, cool. That helps a lot.
Yep.
So like some of your muscle groups, you're like shoulders, you're splitting up. You're not hitting front, middle, and back all on the same day. You're kind of hitting rear delt on the day you do, what'd you say, back? And then
Yeah. So I got a back and rear delt day. And the main reason I do that is because I wanted to make sure I had tons of arm volume because I really need to bring up my arms and shoulders. So it allows me to spread my volume out across a broader spectrum as opposed to really hitting it hard one day. It's going to be my game plan is to give it a shot this year or this offseason. I'm probably going to run it for about 8 to 12 weeks to see how it does, see if I notice any growth. But that being said, I mean, I'm still in the health phase too, so I'm not pushing ridiculous weight like normal. So I got health phase for another 3 weeks, and then blood work to make sure I'm good to go on to my next growth phase, and that's when I'll really be able to push heavy compounds and just heavy lifts in general, again with a boosted androgen stack, and I can then really see if it's doing what it's hoping to do. So
Great. Cool. That's awesome. Thanks, man.
yeah, yeah.
Do you do any deadlift skate or anything like that?
Deadlifts? No, I don't do deadlifts. I did barbell bench on my chest days during prep, and I do Smith machine incline right now in my chest days as one of my workouts. Smith machine first, then if that's not available, I will do barbell. So like in my one of my most recent videos I posted, I was doing barbell actually because it wasn't available. The Smith machines weren't. So I think I loaded up 225 on the incline and just kind of repped it out. But I haven't done it in so long. I didn't know what weight to do. I'm so used to using machines. I really like the fixed plane of motions in machines because it allows you to really focus on the mind muscle connection and getting a stretch versus having to focus on stability as well that you get in the free weights or the barbells. So that's just a personal preference. Now, of course, that's bodybuilding specific. If you're a general lifter or you're a power lifter or a strongman type, you definitely want to work within the free weights and barbells for stabilization. That's definitely a healthy thing you want to do. I just don't. It's not necessary for my style and what I do, in my opinion. I do rack pulls though. I love rack pulls. Rack pulls are on my posterior chain day. I do heavy rack pulls, so I'll load up 4 or 5 plates and do about 6 to 8 reps. 4 sets, 6 to 8 reps on rack pulls, just below the knee. I love rack pulls.
Yeah.
What's your I guess favorite exercise to do? What's your least favorite?
My favorite actually probably is the hack squat. I think it's a superior movement. I think it's great for your legs. I see a lot of, the old school guys always talk about barbell squat or front squat. I really like hack squat. I like the platform. I like being able to get I posted a video on this, full videos today in about 30 minutes, and I posted a short on it for keys and cues to look on hack squats. So, if you're looking for quad focus, knees over toes, and then I always make sure my hamstrings go all the way down and touch my calves before I come back up. So extreme depth. So that's why I really like the hack squat. You can get really, really, really good depth on there to really stretch your quads out. So it's great for quad, in my opinion. That's probably one of my favorites. And then least favorite, it would have to be, and actually it's funny because I actually do this in my new split, but it's any dumbbell flies. I don't like them because when for me, I usually have to grab pretty heavy weights to do stuff to feel it in a decent matter. And it just sketches me out to do heavy weights on stuff like dumbbell flies when you can load up the machines. Like there's the machine flies, there's cable flies, there's alternatives you can use that are safer. That being said, I do have it because it's an incline chest fly. And I do like it for incline because I don't go nearly as heavy. And I'm able to really get a good plane of motion and squeeze on it. So that's why I do like it for that. But overall, I would say it's my least favorite. But I do it, but it's my least favorite.
I got to ask you what you do for your abs to keep lean, but to get the abs to grow. Because you know how much we all love to do abs. But I do abs a lot. And I don't know that I'm not getting my abs too big, because then it starts looking
a little blocky.
I can't handle that blocky, yeah. And so I don't know.
Yeah.
How often and what do you do?
So I train abs. It's actually 2 times a week. I do 2 times a week, but I do them on my quad days and my rest days. And then I do 3 sets of everything. And the first one is hanging leg raises, really slow, really focus on, feeling it through my lower abs. And I do 10 to 15 reps. Then 3 sets of cable rope crunches. And now when you're doing those, you really want to make sure, like, at least for me, I should say, for me, I really make sure I'm staying straight. I'm not getting my obliques involved in it. I just make sure I'm staying straight and really just squeezing the abdominals themselves. I do 15 to 20 reps of those. And then my last thing is I do I'll get the decline bench. I'll do weighted sit-ups on that. So I'll usually just grab like a 45-pound plate to start, just something like that, and I do 10 to 12 reps of that. Now I will say there's sometimes I swap it out as needed, or I just skip that one because it will get to a point where it starts to hurt my lower back some. Just going through it so often. So, or it used to. I used to do abs 4 times a week, and now I'm only doing them 2 because I have a pretty defined core. And my game plan this off season to stay 12% body fat or lower throughout the entire phase.
Wow.
So I'm going to try to do that just to minimize my prep time, and I think that's going to make it, pretty easy overall, so I can do less abs themselves, but also the vacuum training. So when you train them like because that's going to help keep your waist small, keep it tight, and will help, you're training your TVA, your core, all of it is getting trained when you do the vacuum training. So that's about 15 minutes fasted every day. So.
Okay. 15 minutes
most
fasted.
days. There's some days I miss it. There's some days I do miss it, but yeah, I aim for 15 minutes daily fasted. I usually just do it right after my cardio in the morning. So I'll hop on, do my cardio, do 25 to 35 minutes, roughly on how much time I have in the mornings, and then I'll hop off and then do 15 minutes of vacuum training.
Yeah. I can say I have not tried to do any of the vacuum training. It doesn't look like much fun. So I may have to give it a shot.
So I think my vacuum is one of the things that got me moved out of classic and top 3. I think because that and size overall just needs more size, of course. But I think the vacuum could have been better. But I was also it was a very weird setup. So I went up for open and then went off stage, and then within like 20 minutes was right back up for classic. So I was really depleted by then. I looked more classic in my open, and I placed higher in open than I did in my classic physique. And I competed against almost the same guys. I think there was like one guy I didn't compete against that was, he was cross division. And I think that was one of the things. My vacuum was weak. So that's why I'm really hitting it hard and trying to get it built as much as I can.
Great.
If it touches you, you're gonna have to wash your hands.
I did tell Michael if he wants, I can talk through, my phases for the off season if he wants. I know it's up to you guys on time you have. I don't know. Or if you think someone else hopping on. If you have any more questions, whatever you want to know.
I don't know if you do, Chris, but I want to say I'm down for whatever, Cade. So if you want to go.
Oh yeah, bro.
Some stuff.
Yeah, I can talk to it. So I won't say any exact dosages. I'll just give you ranges, just because it's so independent for people. Like I don't, I'm not trying to say run this dose because I do it. Obviously, I'm not famous enough to do that, and B, this is not how it works. So health phase right now, we're running about test E. We're running test E, HGH, retatrutide 2 times a week, and then clenbuterol. So I'm running the test is just a cruise base to maintain levels. Then the HGH is just for recovery and tissue turnover, just to help hold on to what you have and stay lean. Where the retatrutide is to kind of help get my fat metabolism and insulin sensitivity improved post prep, because coming off of lower calories to back up the big ones, added in about 700 calories between prep and then this first week. So a big jump, all carbs. And then the Clen, I'm just running a 40 milligram or running a taper of it, 40 microgram taper daily, just as a final prep compound to taper off of it and help like a reset into off-season push and help keep lean through it. And then getting blood work done on the week 4, so I can then review and make sure I'm good for my growth phase. That's the first step. So it's first weeks 1 through 4. Then lean. My first one's like a lean growth phase. That's weeks 5 through 20. We'll run that. So it's test E, Primo, Mast P, HGH, Arimidex, and that we're hoping to be able to push with that cycle, maintaining solid growth, solid calories. That should get me up to right about 220 at that 12% or less body fat. Is the goal. I should by the end of that week 20, I should be sitting about 220 pounds, which would be 5 pounds over my heaviest I've ever been. and then I'm gonna rerun a mini health phase. So pretty much get blood work done. I'm gonna get blood work done probably once a month or once every 6 weeks during that, just to make sure where I'm at. Get it done for sure in the last week to allow see where I'm at, check biomarkers, and if I'm good, then I'm just gonna run a short like 4 week health phase, maybe even 3 weeks, just to give my body a break, a cruise, and then it'll be phase 2 of growth, which I'll be doing test E, NPP, MASP, HGH, and then cabergoline, and that's just to manage the prolactin from the NPP, because NPP does increase your prolactin significantly, but it is super great. Like you add on a ton of lean mass with it, like it's super solid, and it's also really good for your joints. I believe it has really great joint support within it compared to other compounds. Like when you think of like Winstrol as a cutting, it dries you out and it really dries your joints, so you get a lot of joint pain on that if you were to run something like Winstrol. So then we go into the prep phase, which is just for the last 14. I think I did 14 weeks on this one, and it's tests as a base, tren, MAST, HGH, Anavar. I'll probably add Clen in, and then probably Tetratyde as needed, and Aromacin and Caber just for full hormone control. So the goals come in right at my weight cap of 194, and then the goal is to compete at the Phoenix Iron Games, July 2026, and then you can qualify for nationals. Then there's the USA's the very following week in Vegas. So going to fly over to Phoenix, we'll probably drive over to Phoenix, and then stay in Phoenix for the week, and then hit Vegas the very next week, and just stay there for the week out in the foothills and compete in Vegas for the pro card is the goal.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing all that. You've got a schedule up ahead of you, bro.
Yeah.
That sounds
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's my guys at my work. They were like, "Oh, you should be happy. You should be in a good mood." So I was looking for this off to work the other day for other reasons. Like, you should be in a good mood. You can eat now. I'm like, nope, 52 weeks. I can't eat. That's not how it works. I was like, I'm shooting for a cheat meal every 2 weeks. Like, that's not how it works. So I'm hoping to. So I come in. I'm a little heavy. So show was on Friday or on Saturday last week, and by Wednesday I was 200.
Okay.
So I was 190. Wow. I was 190 when I woke up for show day, and then I was 200 by Wednesday. Which you guys think is glycogen's restored. Eating carbs again. Glycogen filled back up. Water filled back up. I was dry. Hadn't had water before that weigh in, so I was pretty dry. So that's expected. But I was 202 the past 2 mornings. So I'm hoping by Sunday check-in, I'll be back down to 200. I think I would like to sit at 200 for the health base and make a push from there. Because I'm in a good spot. Can still see lines, can still see separation of the quads, the delts, the chest, abs, everything. So, and I am documenting all of it. I'm very open about the PED usage. I don't understand why people would be fake natties. No one really cares anymore anyway. So I try to be open about it, and I plan on doing a video on the PED stacks by phase on my YouTube channel, and then I'm gonna be kind of doing a giveaway on it. I'll announce that tonight at 5. But yeah, so that's kind of the goal. So overall, those pro card, hopefully pro card 2026.
There we go.
So
we'll be cheering you on, dog.
Thank you. It's gonna be a fun process. I've got a lot of guys from the old show I met that I'm trying to schedule. I'm trying to get them all to go compete there with me. One guy, he's over in San Antonio, and he was super cool. I talked to him still. I'm gonna see about maybe getting over to San Antonio in a couple months, get a workout in, hang out for a bit. But cool. He's doing the same thing. I think he qualified for nationals. Actually. So I think his next show is gonna be a national show, but he's taking at least a year off. He said to grow for it.
Oh wow.
So, but yeah, I was one placement off from qualifying for open nationals, which would have been weird because I didn't even want to compete in open. I just threw it on there because I was like, well, crap, I may not make weight. So I said, fuck it, and threw open on there, open light heavyweight, and that was my best class apparently. So Might just need a transition, I guess, to open, which I've considered. I've heavily considered. But okay, so it looks like I'm looking at the timer up top. We got about 6 minutes left. So I mean, if there's if you have questions, you can feel free. If not, we can go ahead and I can stop the recording and we can hop off now or whatever we need to do.
Okay, I got to jump off because I got to run a kid to a ball game. But man, good to meet you, dude. Be following you and seeing what all happens.
Sounds good. Thank you. Yeah, it's fun. That's fun.
Thanks, Mike, for setting us up.
Thank you.
Yeah, one day, Kay, you can come down here so we can do like a little workout thing, like a little documentary or whatever.
Shit, come down there. That's a 13-hour drive. It's not a come down. It's not a come down thing. But anyway, okay, man. Do you have any more questions? Last 5 minutes? Are we good? Or
I think that should be it, or whatever. And then I'm about to say my thing. So
okay,
we'll end it right there.
Okay, I'll go ahead and stop the recording. I'll let you do your thing. Then I'll stop it.
All right. Hey guys. Thing come to the end, so I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get some good info. I hope it helps you out a little bit with some knowledge and everything. And look forward to seeing Kay compete again or do another little Zoom podcast call. So, all right, deuces, guys.